So this is a video on how to make a uh, a cutting file for a contract job. It's fairly straightforward. The first thing to notice is we are on Evernote, where these are files that have been tagged templated X, but have not been tagged drawing done X, like this one over here, where we've done somebody on site has done the template. You can notice here that you have the measurements that in this case Mateus has taken and noted down, hopefully on the actual worktops as a check for people that go to fit the job. So the first thing to do is to try and find an old drawing, which the plan of this, which normally should be kept within this file. It's not there, so I'm going to add it to it. So I found it recently. Now if you notice, it is this one, 489. This is also plot 489. I'm just going to drag this into the plot. The other thing to notice is that the other plots that we've done in the past are 483 and 489. They're more or less the same. So we quickly just check the specification of these plots. So this is block F2. 489 is drawing 13A, 489 12A, but they are the same shape. The point is that are these the same in terms of the sink, which is a Deca 150, this one here, as well as any tap holes and hobs. They're more or less the same. So we know we can find the old drawing of 477 or 483, open that up, and then import in 489, the original laser file, to clean it up. So let's find the cutting. Let's find the cutting file for 477 or 483. 483 we have here. That is exactly the same. So we know we can copy the sink and the hob details. I'm a little bit worried because I've just seen the sink with the wrong-handed direction. I've got to make sure that this is correct. I'm going to pause the video whilst I check. So it turns out that the better way of doing this is to actually search for. So when you get to the drawings folder, we want to search for the plot specific plot, and you can see that this has been approved by the client, status A. With the sink in this direction. So that's really the correct drawing. That's the one that we want to pull into this. So I want to delete this because this is obviously an old drawing, and drag, let's get 489. I'm going to drag this file into here, which is the correct plan with the sink in the correct place. So I know that I can now open up, let's copy this path to find plot 483. Here we go. Right, next job is to import in the original laser file for 489. And to unlock all the layers and display all the layers. So display all, enable all, and that way you can see all the layers, and it's now open up all the layers here. Change these to the correct layer. So that's the tool unit. Oops. Now these are your walls. So change that, all the layers to the correct ones. Polished line. Cabinet line. I forgot this polished line one. this is this one here. Right, next job is to save as a different file name so we don't mess that up. Just check that the material is the correct one, so 489 is oyster as well. So just change that to 489 and we're good there. Next job is to check against the Evernote dimensions. So we've got dimensions given to us here of what's been templated. So 614 tall unit, 348, all these we've got to just check these to make sure that this job has been done correctly. So a bit of back and forth between these. First thing to understand is that the tall unit tends to get over exaggerated here, but if we use this measuring tool, this one here, we can check the distances and compare them. So 614 tall unit, now 364, so 709 for wall. Now we're gonna have the pillar, I'm guessing, which is 364 or something. .269. It's not on there, which is a pain. So I'm guessing there's nothing here either, but let's check the longer one. 2104. That measurement's not on there either. That's not helpful. That measurement will not be there, so let's start checking some of these. 1593. That's there, that's correct. 761. 0.7. So that leaves me with a question mark as to why that is 5mm bigger. 1681, and then this one must be the 364. So that's correct. I need to pause the video whilst I call Matthias and ask him why this measurement is out and what are the wall measurements. So the story from the templater is that this measurement was incorrectly noted here, but it has been checked on site, so we can continue. Right, so now that we've ascertained that the drawing is okay, we need to add in joints. We need to add in the sink and the hob, which are the same as this, and then we need to put in the title block and the cutting line, and then we're good. So let's start extending out for the joints. Now this joint here is basically a single line from the corner to here, and then we can start moving it out to create a 1mm joint between them. Normally it's a 2mm joint. Well, let's do the 2mm joints anyway on the edges. Clean that up. And now we need a single line from here to this point here. And we're going to do a 1mm, a 0.5mm, only a 1mm joint here, because it tends to move around for some reason when it's on an angle. So I did a parallel line and go either side of this joint and delete the middle one. I can fillet these two out to create the joint. I've left the backs open because we still haven't got the cutting lines to clean those up. Joints are done. 1, 2, 3 joints. Next thing is the sink and the hob. So that is where we're going to copy from here. Okay, so that's the hob copied. I don't need the text. And the sink. Okay, sink has been fully selected and the hob, so copy and paste. It looks about correct, doesn't it? Okay, so let's drop them out of the way. Now I've got, as soon as I press copy, this enable copy happened, which tends to cause havoc, so switch that off. And we want to just, at this stage, just copy the title block. The color seems to go wrong for some reason, but Unfortunately, copying this title block, it's very difficult to edit it. It doesn't allow us to edit it. So I just have to create a new title block sometimes. It depends, it's different per machine. And this should have been block DF2. Right, this is plot 489 and 30mm oyster. Aris, edge, yes, Aris on bottom of sink. I can control X to move it and move it out the way. Now, I can just check what the measurements were for the previous one, but they tend to be standard. 170 are very standardized measurements for all the Eurocachina jobs and most of the contract jobs. So put in a construction line or or the same line as these two, and make your parallel lines. So we can make these are construction lines basically. 100mm for the sink from the front edge, and the short pressing that again. The shortcut for that is insert 70. Right, I want to keep only the middle. Okay, that didn't work. So let's fillet this to here and this to here. Now I'm gonna move this sink to the. I have to align it correctly. So do align, pick up from this side and drop to this side of the line. But you can see that it's out of position here. So we're going to move it just using F2 snap, and now move it again, but using the midpoint snap, this one here, which is F4, and move it to the middle. That's now in the correct place. Same situation with this hob. Align it first with the bottom. Now move it out the way using F2 standard snap, and move it again using the midpoint snap. That one to there. That's organized that. We have, what do we have left? So this is now useless. We want to delete this and save the project. Next thing to do is to do your cutting lines. So go to the cutting line layer, change it to maybe a Bordeaux, make sure it's not red or yellow. We're trying to avoid those lines for the cutting machine, and start putting in your tolerances. So 1mm when it comes to the tool unit, and wherever the worktop's going to be seen. So you can see from this picture of the image that this is going to be an outer edge that is seen. So that's going to be seen, that's going to be seen, and that's going to be seen. The rest of it's not going to be seen. So the rest of it, in this particular site, we have upstands. So we leave a big there's 20mm upstands, so we leave a big gap here. Undo that line by mistake. There we go. We're sitting in a good place, and we also need to just make 7mm gap here because there will be upstands here as well. Right, we need to now make lines. So we need to fillet where I have got the 1mm gaps like that, and here. But these lines were effectively construction lines. I don't need them anymore. Because that's no good when they're disjointed from the rest of it. I'm going to draw a line using F7, so I get something that's not so sharp, and F3, so I get the end of this line. I've got to fillet this out to make sure I don't have a problem there. And here again, I can do a endpoint line to F7, so I've got a slightly smoother line, and somewhere here. And now fillet that. There'll be some more filleting later on. Same thing here. Endpoint snap, endpoint for a line, and this we probably can just do to here. It's sharp enough. It doesn't matter too much. So save this. I no longer need most of these layers. So normally I don't need layer 4. Wall, tool unit, I don't need construction, even though I don't have any construction lines here. Normally I do. Orange cabinet, I don't need the carcass lines for the hob and the sink. The rest of them are good. Now, next job is to press C on the keyboard, C for cat, and you get to understand where the piece is disjointed, and you fill it out, the bits that are disjointed. Except for here, where your hob joints are, which you need to just trim away. Same's going to be the same situation is going to be here. You can delete that out. That's meaningless. Going to have the same situation here also. Right, press C again, and now start filleting all the bits. Keep pressing C if you wish to understand where the fillets need to be and which ones you've already covered. Okay. So we just carry on doing this. Now, okay, so we now have a clean file, because if I press C, yes, I've got the text being picked up as well as the drainer grooves, but that's meaningless. It doesn't affect anything. Press R to just make the drawing clean again. The last stage of this is to put in the dimensions for everyone. So check the dimension properties and make sure there is black text and the color is actually black when it comes to up here. That is the case. So you have to check if this button is depressed or not. That means I've got to press somewhere twice. I'll use that later. The first job is to get it depressed, unpressed, and just pick out the full lines. That's normally the polished edges, the joints, which I pull to this side, full pieces, joints, and tool unit. Now I've got to press this one and do the endpoint snap to give me the rest of them. That covers that side, and the last side is this. The last side, which I should have picked up from the old drawing that I deleted, was just a small note to indicate where are the walls, where are the tool units. So if I just drop a line here, highlight this and change it to 35, now I can write in wall and highlight it, Control C, and just copy it a few places so it's dead clear where they have to polish, where they don't have to polish. And then I'm going to put it here, but just adjust it now to tool unit. That's the finished drawing. Save it, Control S, print it in some either cute PDF or a thing, and make sure you get it into the correct place. So this is going to be in Eurocutioner jobs, Dickens Yard, cutting, and that's the correct file name. And momentarily you should see that we have the finished drawing there. So that's the end of this video.